For orientation purposes, this is a topographic map of northern Alberta and covers the area between Peace River and Fort McMurray. Note the locations of Peace River, Grimshaw, Fairview, and Manning, where my talks are being given this week. Also note the major drainage areas of the Peace and Athabasca rivers, as well as the Lesser Slave Lake in the south and Lake Athabasca to the northeast. This map is important to illustrate the connection between the nuclear issue and the tar sands. Since this is an important map to study, I'll read several paragraphs from my peer-reviewed paper, Tar Sands, Key Geologic Risks and Opportunities, published last September, while you examine this map further. This is the paper I'm going to read from. There are copies in the back there which you're entitled and very welcome to the book. Take with you. So I'll just read these paragraphs while you listen to me and study the map. The current exploitation of the tar sands is environmentally damaging enough by burning and depleting resources of natural gas as the main energy source to extract oil from bitumen. Consider the consequences of adding multi-billion-dollar nuclear plants to generate steam or electricity. Some estimates reason this would provide little, if any, improvement in the carbon budget when evaluating the full CO2 cycle. The cycle starts with uranium, mining and milling, power plant construction and transportation, and proceeds all the way to permanent disposal of radioactive waste and ultimate decommissioning of the nuclear power plant. We may be no better off with nuclear energy just on the issue of full cycle greenhouse gas emissions. At a meeting with the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, CAP, in 2007, it was revealed that there was no current interest by the oil sands industry in developing nuclear power. But at the same time, CAP maintained nuclear was not off the table. This position prompted promoters of CANDU reactor sales to change plans from building nuclear reactors in Fort McMurray, in the Fort McMurray area, to two other Alberta communities. At that time, it was Peace River and Whitefork, if you can remember that. The selected location, Lac Cardinal, a shallow lake west of Peace River, was chosen by Energy Alberta Corporation and the Atomic Energy of Canada, with some dubious community support. Ontario-based Bruce Power Corporation later bought out EAC. Lac Cardinal lies on top of the Peace River Arch, potentially the most tectonically active area in Alberta. As a result of Alberta municipal elections later in 2007, voters in Peace River defeated elected officials who supported bringing in the first nuclear reactor to Alberta. This is a detailed reconstruction of our western basin as it looked like during Middle Devonian time about 370 million years ago. The Peace River Arch is shown connected to the West Alberta Ridge, colored in shades of beige and brown. The huge landmass was surrounded by a shallow Devonian sea, colored in green, with deeper ocean waters colored in blue. The Peace River Arch was a high-standing geologic structure about the size of Newfoundland during the Middle Devonian. This geologic map of the Peace River Arch during the Middle Devonian time illustrates the site of two separate sequences of induced earthquakes, shown as green dots. These earthquake sites were both the result of conventional water flooding for secondary oil recovery. In 1970, a very surprising magnitude 5.1 earthquake, the biggest to have occurred in Alberta, was induced at the Snipe Lake oil field located southwest of Lesser Slave Lake. The Snipe Lake field is a Devonian limestone reef with 80 million barrels of recoverable light oil producing from a depth of 9,000 feet. As a member of the Amoco exploration team that drilled the Wildcat discovery well, I was interested in the development of this field by Chevron. Due to this unique single event, A seismology report of the Snipe Lake earthquake was published in the Canadian Geoscience Journal in 1970, the year of this important earthquake. The second area of induced earthquakes is located in the Eagle oil fields immediately northeast of Fort St. John in northeast BC. These recorded series of earthquakes started in 1984 and reached as high as magnitude 4.3 events and are still ongoing. The Eagle fields produced from the Permian-aged Beloy Formation, a sandstone reservoir. The Peace River Arch existed as a large landmass until this region became the center of a major crustal collapse, a collapse of enormous magnitude, causing catastrophic earthquakes, faults, and fractures. The structural collapse started at the beginning of the Mississippian period following the Devonian. The Peace River Arch continued dropping and was later filled in by thousands of feet of younger rock formations. This map is a geophysical interpretation of subsurface faults and grobens located on the Peace River Arch, published in the 1994 Atlas. Note the locations of the Snipe Lake and Eagle oil fields, again shown as green dots, and the proximity to mapped faults close to both fields. In order for earthquakes to occur, nearby geologic faults must move abruptly. There's a third earthquake not on this map, close to Peace River, the Bruce Power location near Weberville and Carmen Creek. Also carefully note the two proposed nuclear energy locations by Bruce Power on and adjacent to the White Mud Fault and the Hines Creek Grobens, shown as red dots. Grobens is a technical geologic term, refers to deep parallel faults that drop vertically. The MD map back